Now, we also want to touch on what the situation looks like on the ground. Human rights groups say hundreds have been killed so far in the anti-regime protests in Iran. So for more on this, we've reached Omid Memarian in Detroit. He is a senior Iran analyst for Dawn, which is a think tank. Now, he was arrested by the Iranian regime in 2004 for voicing his position to the country's authorities. Omid, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
You have been in touch with people who are on the ground, something that is very difficult to do right now with that blackout. What are you hearing?
Right. Over the past few days, we have had a national countrywide shutdown, digital blackout inside the country. So it's very hard to have any communication with people inside the country. But we have learned from different channels that the protests on Thursday and Friday, last Thursday and Friday, it got to its peak of momentum, and we had protests in a lot of cities in the country, more than 100 cities in the country, if not more. I think what makes it very interesting about this protest is very much different than any round of protests we have had in the past years. The number of people who have participated in these protests the number is much higher. The intensity of protests in different cities, again, it's much different, and it's much more intense. The group demographic, the groups that are participating in these protests are also wider. Like, we have the younger generation, we have the older generation. Everybody thinks that this is the moment that they can, that it could be a defining moment. But on Saturday and Sunday, the digital blackout, the fact that the Iranian government shut down Iranians' connection to the outside world, that really impacted how we communicate with people inside the country. So except from rare moments of connection that we have had with people like who either are participating in the protest or witnessing closely what's happening, we don't have much information about what's happening. But we know that it's still on Saturday and Sunday there were protests in different places in Tehran and other cities, and at the same time the crackdown has been severe. We from the videos that have emerged over the past 24 hours, we know that the number of people who have been killed, it was in the hundreds, but people are now guessing it might be in the thousands. So we have the very determined people who are fed up with the Islamic government. At the same time, we have a very organized and brutal crackdown machine that the government is using this time to disperse the crowds and basically try to end this crisis. That think that this is very existential for the regime, and it might impact its survival.
Now, Omid, potentially one of the more unique things we're seeing here, too, is the language being used by the U.S. president. Donald Trump has warned that the U.S. may intervene if there is this brutal crackdown on protesters. Of course, one needs to take the comments at this stage at face value. I'm wondering how serious you think that is, the message from the U.S. president, but also what you feel is coming from the regime in place in Iran right now, and how serious they are about cracking down on that dissent, particularly as someone who was, in fact, subjected to torture for voicing criticism back in 2004.
That's a very, very important question. The president said a few times that he's going to support the protesters. He said that we are locked and loaded, basically ready to intervene inside Iran. So after that, many people might have been encouraged to go to the streets, thinking that this time around, the Iranian government might think twice before they shoot at the protesters. They shot at the protesters. They killed so many people. And the president now is in a situation to act. From what we are hearing from him, the military attack against Iran is very imminent. The U.S. government is going to do something. We don't know about the scale of it. We don't know about the purpose of it. and how it's going to unfold. We don't know if it's targeted at a particular person or a particular a few officials, and aimed at overthrowing the government, basically going after military bases and other bases of support for the government, or it's just going to be a one-off attack. And whether it's like the Soleimani killing in 2020 that the U.S. killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani, and then after that they message Iranians that this is a one-off, and we are not coming after you if you don't respond. Iranian responded, but there was no U.S. casualty. We have to see what scenario unfolds in the next days. But from what we are hearing from the White House and what the president has said over the past few days, it doesn't seem that the U.S. would sit aside and doesn't do anything. And I think the chance of having a military attack is very imminent.
You know, very finally, Omid, and I only have 30 seconds left here, I wanted to ask you about the exiled crown prince and whether or not that appears to be someone who is getting support on the ground in Iran.
You know, I think the military attack might change a lot of calculations. There are definitely people in Iran chanting for him. But overall, the military intervention can change the equation, because the Islamic Republic has a social base. They have nowhere to go, and we have to see how this unfolds.
Omid, thank you so much for your insights on all of this. We appreciate your time. Omid Memarian is a senior Iran analyst for Dawn, a think tank, and he joined us from Detroit. We appreciate it.